Hi, I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. My partner, Kristen Oaks-White, will join us a little bit later in the show. What a difference one word can make. There is now a bill before Congress to bring some much-needed help to Louisiana soybean farmers. Louisiana 5th District Congressman Ralph Abraham introduced legislation this week that would change the eligibility requirements for the USDA's Market Facilitation Program. That's the $12 billion program to aid farmers who lost money due to trade and market pressures. That one-word change? The bill would amend the MFP to allow payments in some cases based on planted acres instead of harvested acres. This summer, thousands of Louisiana soybean acres were left in the field. This is because of the perfect storm of low prices, no storage, and bad weather we've been reporting on for the last couple of months. Abraham says, quote, Louisiana soybean farmers cannot be left out of the MFP. The problem they are facing is not of their making, and they should not be forced to bear the heaviest burden caused by market disruptions. He continues, the USDA told our soybean farmers that it would have their backs during these trade negotiations, and this bill ensures that the USDA will be able to honor that commitment. According to the LSU Ag Center and FSA data gathered in October, that number could be as high as 200,000 acres. The Louisiana sugarcane harvest, better known as grinding season, is about halfway complete. The size of the crop has surprised many. As TWILA's Craig Gautreaux explains, tonnage of cane is up, but muddy fields have caused sugar recovery to drop.
At the halfway point of the sugarcane grinding season in Louisiana, sunny days have been few and far between. Muddy fields have caused problems for harvest equipment on the farms and sugar recovery at the mills.
Mills are equipped with clarification to take the mud out, but every time mud leaves the mill, a little sugar leaves with it. You bring in extra trash. Anytime bagasse leaves the back end of the mill, it takes a little sugar back out with it.
A sugar recovery record was set last year at 246 pounds of sugar per ton of cane. This year that number is around 224 pounds, but increased tonnage is helping offset the lower sugar recovery. The large crop in the field is being hampered by the muddy conditions.
It takes us a lot longer to get the tractors out the field, trucks to the mill. We burn on average 200, 250 extra gallons of fuel a day, and extra wear and tear on your equipment.
Pensionat's family farm ships about 35 truckloads of cane each day. With this year's harvest being so wet and the tonnage high, it's going to be an extended harvest season.
Last year, I want to say we finished around Christmas time. This year, we'll definitely be going into at least the second week of January.
Gravois expects farmers to harvest nearly 16 million tons of cane by the time grinding season ends in mid-January.
Because of the wet conditions, some farmers were unable to finish all of their planting for next year's crop, which could mean we could see a smaller crop in 2019. 44,000 families across Louisiana have at least one thing in common. They either own a horse or horses. In fact, there are more horses in Louisiana than there are seats in Tiger Stadium at LSU. The Louisiana horse industry is big business, but it's the little things about living and working with these majestic animals that keep our state leading the country by a nose.
It began in elementary school with 4-H. That's when Warren Harang got his first horse, a show horse, but not first in show.
My dad wouldn't spend very much money on a horse, and I'd get beat pretty handedly, and he'd say, and I'd ask him, I said, you don't think we might can afford a little better horse? He'd say, well, I think you're just not quite brushing hard enough. And that was the answer. And so that was the motivation at that time for me.
Harang now has better horses, and his motivation as the president of the Louisiana Thoroughbred Breeders Association is to grow the horse industry.
We go from the backyard pony to the grade 1 winning thoroughbred horse or quarter horse, the racehorse end of it. It's a $2 billion industry in Louisiana. They have 125,000 horses in Louisiana, and we're all together as an industry. That's very important for us to say.
People don't understand the impact that the horse industry has.
Cleve Weisgerber used to work for the LSU Ag Center and helped establish the Louisiana Stock Horse Association.
When you start talking about feed, and you start talking about $100,000 trailers, and you start talking about equipment and clothes and those kind of things, it's unbelievable the impact that it has on the state, and a lot of people don't realize it.
So it's a lot of businesses tied in to make one thing work.
Ryan Robichaux is the president of the Louisiana Quarter Horse Breeders Association. His horses race all across the state.
We have 4 tracks we run almost year-round, the quarter horse industry, and also the thoroughbreds at different times. Those 4 tracks either running quarter horse or thoroughbred. It's like a circuit we run year-round over here, and you can't find that anywhere else.
You're probably thinking of that race with the hats in the bluegrass state right about now.
Of course, everybody knows the Kentucky Derby, but right here at Evangeline, second week of December, the quarter horse industry has $1 million race right here in our backyard.
I think very few people in Louisiana understand how important that industry is to the state.
Governor John Bell Edwards is well aware of that $2 billion a year economic impact from the horse industry and the national attention it draws.
We actually breed some of the best thoroughbreds and quarter horses in the United States. A lot of people don't realize the role that we play nationally.
It's an increasing role with the help of the Louisiana Bred Program.
The Louisiana Bred Program is very important to have these horses foaled in Louisiana, raised in Louisiana, and race in Louisiana. So it's vertically integrated is what it is.
People love to come here, they love our way, and they like our horses too. Our horses are not afraid to run fast.
Jake Delhomme is the first vice president of the Louisiana Thoroughbred Breeders Association. He's also a former Super Bowl quarterback with the Carolina Panthers and very competitive when it comes to horses.
I get up every single day at the crack of dawn without an alarm because I just love it. There's something about it gets in your blood, just being around the horses each and every day, from just grooming them, cleaning them, watching them grow, watching them get in shape, and watching them compete. And I know for me, it helps fill a competitive void that I don't have from playing anymore.
There's another way Louisiana is working to become more competitive on the national level by attracting more people to see what our horse industry is doing.
We've got the horses, we've got the people who have the love and passion, and we've got some great arenas. So we're working with our new tourism website, Horse Tourism. It's going to allow us to bring everybody together, so when there's events going on, we can not only share them with Louisianans, but people that can drive in that have the same love and passion for the horse as we do to attend those events.
There's much more to the horse industry than money and competition. Harangue is an advocate for therapeutic horses, animals which help special needs children.
They gain confidence, they gain balance, they gain so many things by rubbing and riding a horse.
We've been working to bring the therapeutic riding convention here to Louisiana, working with all the therapeutic riding facilities, of which I had one before I was in politics, the Point Celeste Therapeutic Riding Facility in Plaquemines Parish.
For Robichaux and Delhomme, Weisgerber and Harangue, these horses are more than a livelihood. They're a way of life, passed down generation to generation.
I want my grandkids to ride just like my kids did, just like I did. I don't care where you go. Just get on that horse and ride.
Harangue pointed out that you can get involved in the horse industry at any level, whether it's a backyard pony to being 1/50th owner of a racehorse, and that members of the industry, including Harangue, and he said this many times, they would be willing to help you. To learn more about Louisiana's horse industry, and there's a lot to learn, visit our website at twilatv.org. The Louisiana Stock Horse Association is a relatively young organization when it comes to the equine industry, only 12 years old. However, it's an organization with very deep loyalty and tradition. You may have noticed a few shots in that previous story from the Louisiana Stock Horse Association Stock Horse Show Finals in DeRidder. It was there that the organization paid tribute to one of its leaders, Larry Rutledge. Association co-founder Cleve Weisgerber led the riderless horse into the Beauregard Parish Arena in Rutledge's memory and presented his widow, Janet, with framed pictures of her husband from stock horse shows. Weisgerber says he learned a lot working and competing with Larry Rutledge.
Well, I learned that you can be a competitor and you can still be fair with everybody. you know, you can still help others. It's not a dog-eat-dog world. And Larry was a fierce competitor, but he didn't mind helping anybody.
The Louisiana Stock Horse Association show finals wrapped up on November 18th. To see all of the winners in the 44 categories, visit our website at twilatv.org. You may not think of someone who raises crickets as a farmer, but for the Armstrong family, they believe they're farmers in many ways, and crickets aren't just for fish bait anymore. As TWILA's Tammy Arender discovered, the oldest commercial cricket farm in the U.S. is right there in West Monroe.
It's the same as any farmer going and checking his crop on a day-to-day basis, ensuring that, you know, he's giving his customers the best thing that he can.
Brandon Armstrong and his father Jack are farmers.
10,000 to 12,000 in each of the boxes.
Instead of planting seeds in the ground, they plant baby crickets in egg cartons.
It's its sustainability. It takes a lot less water and a lot less feed to raise a cricket per pound than it does beef.
These tiny, almost transparent little bugs go from pinheads to adults in just 6 weeks.
Our maximum production that we can put out is 14 million crickets a week.
Yes, he said 14 million a week. Jack said his grandfather started the commercial cricket industry in Glenville, Georgia in the 40s. In 1954, Tal Armstrong was looking to expand his fish bait business. What better place than Northeast Louisiana with its fishing hotspots? The Armstrongs package and ship live crickets all over the world for exotic animals. They've sold to the Metropolitan Museum of Natural History and the Smithsonian. But the newest market is human consumption.
One of the companies we sell to, they dry roast them, dip them in chocolate. Tastes like a Nestle's Crunch.
A Nestle's Crunch. Really? Okay, here we go. You know, if you didn't know what it was, it is pretty close to a Nestle's Crunch. Isn't that interesting? And it is a great source of protein. They're also a source of pride for Jack Armstrong.
This industry's gone from a way to get people at the boom after World War II to have easy fish bait to get, real convenient and easy. Now it's going to grow into something that for helping feed the world.
Armstrong says his operation is also impacted by weather. If the fish aren't biting, crickets aren't selling, and since most crickets live for only about 90 days, if the market isn't there, they basically lose those crickets. Unless, of course, you want to bake them up, fry them up, or dip them in chocolate and enjoy them like Tammy did. Every day, technology touches our lives more and more. We've certainly seen it on this show as drones have expanded our ability to see things from a bird's eye view. They're not just for showing farms, though, and at a recent demonstration, new drones are showing just what they can do to lift up any operation.
As part of getting closer to retirement, I'm interested in more things, and I came across this outfit called Fly Guys. Their concept is to match pilots with work, and I thought that was a really good concept. So I have an interest in the company and just trying to work with, I know agriculture. I've been around agriculture for 35 years working for Farm Bureau Insurance. And so it gave me a chance to say, look, there's an opportunity to match these new careers, actually, that's being developed with this new instrumentation that's being developed with things that we've had a need for all the time. It's just a better way, a better mousetrap.
Earlier this week, we flew the drone to look for invasive species in the pine plantation, a tree called a Chinese talus, and it's easily spottable from a drone instead of having to walk through and find them and eradicate. What we have here is a basic drone just to get visual to look for those invasive species. The next level of agriculture is multispectral cameras. They catch different bands of light, and that way you can get the green intensity of different crops to be able to do comparative health analysis.
Talking to a forester friend of mine, and we were just talking about how they could be used in forestry. That's what I have is pine trees. And he told me a fun story. He said they do a lot of work around Toledo Bend, and there's a big fine for accidentally cutting a tree down that's got an eagle's nest in it. And so they were spending $30,000 a year on helicopters to try to flush that out and spot those eagle's nests from above, and they found they could do them a lot easier with the drones and a lot less expensive. But what was funny about it, he said, now we got to be careful because an eagle's scared of a helicopter, but it'll knock a drone right out of the sky.
Coming up after the break, we'll fly over to see what's blooming on the bayou. It shouldn't take long for you to see the point. We'll be right back. Tis the season to deck the halls, and there's one flower that dominates the decorating game during the holidays. Each year, poinsettia sales rack up about $144,000, roughly 1/4 of the total annual potted plant sales. In this month's Blooming on the Bayou, TWILA's Kristen Oaks-White takes us to Louisiana Tech, where they are growing a big business by cultivating this Christmas tradition.
Hey guys, welcome back to Blooming on the Bayou. Now that Thanksgiving is over, I give you my official permission to start decorating for Christmas. And if there's one plant that symbolizes Christmas, aside from the Christmas tree, it would have to be the poinsettia. And here at Louisiana Tech University, they've grown a reputation for producing some of the best poinsettias in the state. So let's go find out how they create this Christmas classic. Now, when we talk about poinsettias, one of the best places, at least in North Louisiana, to buy poinsettias is the Louisiana Tech greenhouse. And here with us is greenhouse supervisor and lab supervisor, Lauren Jennings. Now, Lauren, tell me about the poinsettia project that you guys do every year.
Well, the Louisiana Tech poinsettia production is a long-standing tradition. And basically, the poinsettia sales keep our operation going. So it helps fund our research, education, and community projects. This year we have about 4,000 plants in production, and last year we brought over $30,000 in for the Louisiana Tech greenhouse.
From seedling to what you see now, tell me what kind of process that is.
All right, so we actually get our rooted cuttings in March. So we've been cultivating these since March of this year. Okay. The other ones we start getting in July. So it really is like, seriously, it's like Christmas in July. We have poinsettias everywhere in July, and so we get the rooted cutting and we put them in these pots right here. And over the next few months, it is a very intensive process of watering, making sure the plants stay at a certain temperature. They're actually a really high maintenance plant.
So you told me that the watering process is very interesting. So let's go walk and you're going to show me how that process happens.
Sure. Something that people don't realize about poinsettias is the way that we water them. And we actually, every single day, we pick up every poinsettia. And the way you can tell if they need watering is if they're heavy or not. So we literally go through every single one. See, this one's a little bit lighter. Try that one.
Let me test my skills out.
So we actually do it with one hand, and we do it with the same hand every time, so you can get an accurate feel. So let's see. This one's a little bit heavy. This one's slightly lighter. See if you can tell the difference.
Heavy. Slightly lighter.
Just a little bit. So in this case, we're going to water this one.
Okay. So this is pretty crucial to getting this perfect final product, right?
Absolutely. In this stage of their production, you cannot let them get dried out. They're in this rapid growth stage where they're really growing these huge like vegetative leaves.
Right.
If they get dry, it's like the end of the poinsettias.
You do something else that I learned last time when I was here. You alter the light to kind of fool them, right?
Yeah. So poinsettias are a light-sensitive plant, and they're native in Mexico. So closer to the equator, so they get more light there. So here we have to do all kind of manipulations to get them to turn. They don't normally turn at Christmas time. So in October is whenever we start turning on all the lights. So they literally receive light 24 hours a day. About Halloween is whenever we stop the light manipulation, and then they actually need the opposite. So they need total darkness at night.
That's really interesting, and see, you learn something new every day, especially when you watch Blooming on the Bayou. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, Lauren's going to give us some tips and tricks on how to pick the perfect poinsettia plant no matter where you're buying them from. Stay with us. Welcome back to Blooming on the Bayou. We're here at the Louisiana Tech Poinsettia Greenhouse, and Lauren has got some very helpful insider tips when you're looking for poinsettias, whether you're shopping at Walmart or you're coming to the Louisiana Tech Greenhouse to pick them up. You said there's one thing you can look at that really makes a difference on the shelf life of your poinsettia.
Right, so when you go to your nursery or wherever you want to buy your poinsettias, you actually want to look at the flowers here. Let's do a quick science review, okay? So this whole thing, that's not the flower, okay? Right. This green area right here, this is the flower. These colored leaves are called bracts. People think they're petals, right? But a bract is just a specialty leaf that'll change color. So the flower is actually right here. So basically what we're looking for when we go to shop for poinsettias, we want a really tight, closed flower. If you see a poinsettia that has yellow pollen or even sap on it already, that means it's probably close to its end of its shelf life. And so if you can find one that have these tight, closed flowers here, that means it's gonna last a long time in your home. You can enjoy it through the holidays.
So when you bring them home, what are some things that people at home can do to extend the life of them?
So a good thing to do, you don't want to overwater them when you get home. If you want to do the trick that I taught you, you can pick them up and see if they feel completely saturated. If they're heavy, they don't need water. Or you can just simply get your fingertips. If the soil feels moist, you don't need to water. If it feels dry, then it's time to water. Another thing to keep in mind is that you need to keep the poinsettias with some natural light and try not to change the temperature drastically. So probably not good to put it next to the fireplace or next to an air conditioning vent. Basically, they like about 65 to 70 degrees, just a comfortable room temperature.
So when most people go to the store to buy poinsettias, you'll see red and white sometimes, but at the Tech Greenhouse, you've got a wide array of colors.
We do. We have a wide variety, and this is my favorite room. We call it the hot pink room. This is called Love You Pink, and it's a newer variety, and I like them because the color is just so bright and impressive, and it's actually a taller variety, so I think they're fantastic. We also have another pink variety. It's called Polly's Pink. It's more of a muted tone. It pairs really well with the white here. We have red Chianti, and it kind of looks like a holly bush.
It does.
If you have more dark colors, it'll go good with your color scheme. I like this one. It's called Red Glitter, and it has little flecks of white, if you look real close.
And so this is just a baby version of the...
It is. These are the little pixies you can see right here. Oh, look at that. Little 4-inch pots.
If people at home watching this maybe want to buy one, can they call and come and pick them up?
They can. So unfortunately we don't typically do deliveries, but if you want to call 318-257-2918, you can place your order there. You can pick it up through December 21st. Or if you want to, you can just go to the sales room and do some shopping.
And we'll put a link to all that information on our website. Lauren, thank you so much for opening your doors to your greenhouse and showing us that. If you have any questions on how to care for your poinsettias or any other general flower, landscaping, or garden questions, head on over to our website, twilatv.org, and you can submit your questions there, and we're sure to find an answer for you. Thanks so much. We hope to see you next time, Blooming on the Bayou.
That does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll take a look back at some of our favorite stories from 2018 and show you one Louisiana farm couple who have done well on the national stage. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. For all of us here at TWILA, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.